Hey guys, let's start and come at with another game of Total War 3 Kingdoms. We're here with Liu Chong, 190 expanded. The year is, I don't know, 192 or 3, and Dong Zhuo is here, attacking us. Well, you know, we gotta win. We've got to win. We're a little beat up. Some of us are a lot beat up. But, you know, we've got a map. We've got a decent garrison. And they don't have a full stack. What they have is some very high quality red cav, some yellow cav, and then barely anything else. We've got a whole lot of green infantry. So if we can just shoot up the red cav and stab the yellow, you know, easy peasy. We've got the tools we need to put pressure on them early. And we're just going to deploy our troops in the trees. Because the idea is that we want, you know, not just to be hidden, but to be able to get our reinforcements up here before they engage. So we don't want it to happen too fast, right? That is right. We don't really need anybody out front, in fact. I think we'll actually stay hidden here, right? And we'll get Tyrant out front and try to provoke their cav to engage here. Hey, Luke. Yes, yes. Hopefully we will win. Yeah, you know, I took my Sunday nap. Sometimes I think, do I want to play video games and talk more than take a nap? And, well, you know, it was a hot day for me at work, and I will be glad when the summer's over. But that is okay, because I think, yeah, us being hidden made them get into a little bit of a wonky space anyway, and we just want to convince them to engage in the center. Now that this other cavalry's here, we can bring Liu Chong up as well, and these other guys, in case we, you know, get them a little out of position. So we get these guys here before we engage at all. I mean, that would be perfect. We're not, like, on a clock here, right? We've got plenty of hail of arrows. You know, we got ammo here and here. Because if they want to wait for us to get into position, then like they'll wait for us to get into position. I guess they will too. So that's just fine with me. We've got, you know, the ability to reach out and get some good poke damage in by Tyrant and Liu Chong, where, you know, we might be able to even pop Dong Zhuo if he'll sit still and let us shoot him. But fortunately, you know, because they've got that siege brain, right? But they also, you know, I'm the attacker, so from their perspective, they don't need to come out at me. And they're right, they don't need to. This red cav is basically just here to engage when we pull in there. They're not... Yeah, they're not faster than we are, so we'll be fine to do this. Even if we get caught a little bit, we'll be able to get out. Liu Chong's quite beat up, you know, at like just 7,000 hit points, but we're just gonna not let the big guy hit him. Seriously, nothing. Well, I thought if you were the attacker versus if you were the defender, sometimes, like if they had been attacking me, then they would be moving toward me, right? But since I gave them the battle, like they're sitting still, or maybe that's just dependent on army styling and that they don't know where I am. But I'm perfectly happy to take a couple of shots at them there. Because really, at this range, I feel like, why don't we just do a hail of arrows? After all, what are the chances that I'll use all 4 of them, right? And even a long-distance one that does anything, it kills, you know, like 2 guys. It's probably fine. But we're going to keep on shooting them because I feel like this is actually a totally fine way to use our ammo. It would be better to shoot Cao Cao, but I can't see him, so I don't know where he is. Alright, there we go. Now we see somebody worth shooting. See there. I was like, he's here somewhere. I know he's here. It's yellow cav here in the front. And like, even though he's running, right, we'll hit him eventually here. Alright. Yeah, a couple arrows connect quite nicely with him there. And now he is on his way away. Get wrecked, buddy. And what I mean is, join me. You're a great guy. I don't care if you're evil. In this timeline, we can all be good or bad. I'll just run here. I should see you take another shot at him. We don't want to, like, kill him here. We just want to make him run. No idea where the big guy is. That's just fine. And here we're going to get a very nice hit here, hit him with the hamstring, hit him with the fist of the righteous, and then well, as sweet as that duel is as an idea, it's not part of the game plan, and we need to run away. We actually chased them a lot further than I wanted to, but they're quite beat up here, and, you know, getting rid of Cao Cao without him getting any damage at all off, very nice. And we get this yellow cav eliminated clean. We're just going to come up here now. We just need to make sure we don't make contact here. Yeah, Dong Zhuo already has 90 armor, so getting 100 more. But all makes him evil anyway, pragmatism and comparatively low loyalty. Well, I mean, all the dudes that hang out with Liu Chong and Guo Si are evil, right? I mean, to be fair, he does eventually, like, get upset and go home after somebody threatens to kill him or whatever. But I guess, I mean, just giving good advice to awful people. But I guess they're all bad, right? I do often lose sight of how bad they all are. And they just have a very small amount of infantry and a very small amount of ranged units, which we'll just try to make sure to get onto once they get over here. We're not going to have such morale problems as soon as he gets in on us, but it won't take too long. At least they don't have anybody with a roar or anything. This cavalry getting very shot up already, and it's all about to open up. What we're doing here is just trying to pull them in front so that they don't really run into the infantry. It works-ish. And then we're just going to retreat back here. Because the key here is just not to engage this cav block at all. Our cav here gets totally tuned up. But on this front, we've got nothing but heat there. Alright, we need to get on to him. And actually, we sent the guy that we need on Dong Zhuo duty away. This is very bad, actually. This is more than passing bad. We're going to hit this. At least the cavalry is running away. This guy... We'll keep Liu Chong over there. We needed him to make these people unbreakable. No, it'll be fine. Because this dude, as he comes in, we're going to be able to get on Dong Zhuo duty here. We'll make everybody unbreakable. This is going to be very crucial. And unfortunately, right, we failed to get anybody onto... Yikes. And the only infantry unit they have is just coming in, and I think everybody is not shooting. It's going to be fine. It's probably going to be fine. No, I mean, it's definitely going to be fine. We are getting very beat up, though. Do we have any... Yes. Spears here and here. You know, we failed to get any pressure on the back line, which is not great, but Dong Zhuo has fallen. That is great. And now we just need to knock her down. Alright, you know, it was hardly perfectly clean, but at least we know that a lot of our units were a little beat up in the first place, and we can claim that most of the damage that happened to us is because of that. Probably should have been slightly closer to the front of the forest. You know, really, we needed a front rather than just having all the crossbows just sort of in there. But really, the failure was in not getting just one single guy into this back line to make the archers not shoot. That would have helped out a ton. But the cav is dealt with there and there and there. And he's gonna throw a trident at her. And it works. Alright, you know, that was a very human performance, but it gets it done. We used exactly one hail of arrows, the one at the beginning, that did 3 damage. I'm so bad at this game. Put Spear Guard and Saber Infantry. You know, I'm actually thinking more like Axe Band and more crossbows. Because Axe Band with our very big, you know, +10 banner onto them. First of all, let's get the pressure here. You know, it's just Archer Militia, but there's no reason to let them have it for free. Because Spear Guards, like... Spear Guards are just, like, because they have a shield, but if we just get, like, somebody else with a shield in the front, and then green stuff that's got good damage... I don't know if we can get Axe Bands on champs. Ah, you know, fair enough. I think maybe we can, because they're, like, militia class, but maybe not. Because the one the Sentinel got was the Sword Guard at level 1, the special-ish one, right? Alright, well, the Tyrant is defeated. Xing Daorong, you are a hero. I'm so glad you showed up, buddy. You're unbreakable. You know, Liu Chong's awesome. I think he ran off. But he's got... No, Goon, probably, yeah. Liu Chong, I think, is a whole different guy. Yeah, because the real thing is, like, what I'm thinking with my armies is who specifically are we fighting, right? Liu Chong, okay. I'm like, why did I think that was a G? Yeah. Anyway, but because he's got a really great ability, right? Fist of the Righteous is awesome, but it's really like, you know, the negative evasion and armor. It's sort of like a Fist of the Phoenix, Flames of the Phoenix, plus like a half Wisdom of the River, right? It's really cool, but he's not like a duelist guy, whereas Xing Daorong here with his, like, big armor piercing bonuses from the various stuff and, like, swinging faster is, like, you know, he's better at it. Not like a champion's a duelist in general, but, you know, it's like, this guy's super good. I just, you know, I don't want to feel bad about giving the cool weapon to somebody else. It's a dueling skill? Oh, okay. I guess it would be good in a duel. Yeah. Yeah, I guess it would. Yeah, because the skills have the evasion chance on them. Alright, and here we take the money. Yeah, we have to take the money. We actually make a lot of money there. Yeah. Once it's gone, it's all this good has to land first, yeah. Especially good then in conjunction with Wisdom of the River, where you go in and weaken them, and then, you know, it's like a continuation of that on somebody who's punchier. Is he going to be able to get away? Yes, but not in a way that's useful to him, right? Because he is on the wrong side of the river. Alright, we have 2 grand. Do we try to take Xiangyang? That is the question right now. It's awkward to get there. We actually would have to get access over the Yubiao or make him upset. But he should like me right now because of, like, how awesome we're doing. Why doesn't anybody like me? Like, I feel like people should just, like, think I'm a total bro. Like, did any of y'all actually like that guy? Like, come on. Yeah. Let's take it, of course, like, because we can just spin off this guy. and because he can annex it, you know, by himself. Because that's what I was thinking. You know, we've got access to this other, like, tiny army, and we know from experience that you can get, like, a whole lot of work done out of these small things. And we already got this vertiginous quake guy earlier, which is, yeah. I might have looked at him, but yeah, you know, we got a splash attack, we got missile cav damage and running, you know, this guy's gonna be amazing, right? He's gonna heal himself a little bit. Extra minor. Oh, right. Would it tell me how much it is? 5K, okay. It would probably go up if it gets to level 3. Alright, so what we want to do here is, if we go to ambush, he likely is not going to move for the lumberyard, right? Or rather, I don't think he would move for the lumberyard. What we can do is just move here to block his movement away, right? Because if we go just like right here, well then he'll run. Well, no, he's already run before, so we can do the follow-up and pop him. Alright. Decisions. Alright, the Peacekeepers are coming back. We allowed them to get popped. Do we get rid of them? Knowing it will be a long time until we get them again. But do we get rid of them? One Peacekeeper is like, you know, 3 Spear Warriors. Yeah, we've got incredibly negative reserves. We don't have a way around it. Because we can't get reserves from a building until, like, way high up in the granary, which isn't useful. Yeah, we take the 4 food, because that's the most influential thing we can get right now. Which will barely help at all, but will barely help. There's gonna be a rebellion. Well, hopefully Gongdu is gonna be engaged there. Well, you know, at least that went well. Hey, and we get this bronze winch mechanism, so our artillery can fire faster. And once we get artillery, that'll be very good. You know. We're gonna go ahead and equip it just because, I mean, it's part of the case, right? Yeah, they go up instantly. Yeah, let's wear it in the case. This is the... Okay, so this was the defensive battle one, and I guess that counted. It probably, yeah, because, you know, because we were defending the siege of Sally out or whatever, and so I guess that does count. And, there you go. Alright, if we drop the Peacekeepers in the Royal Guard, that's like a whole retinue. And we can get Axe Band. And, you know, with 38 morale, I mean, from the banner, right? You know, it's, they're totally fine to get a few of in there. You know, you get in, you break the shield, and then before you know it, you know, your crossbows are working. Hey, Chase, how's it going? Things are going well here. We have cast the Tyrant down. I mean, he's still alive, but, you know, for now. I'm like, oh, right, obvious spy. Say it hurts you to disband, but we can't afford it. Yeah. It's too true. Can't afford these 2 infantry either, man. I wish I could. Look at that stat line. 61 morale. Say sorry, you don't do these streams, you don't really understand this game. Fair enough, you know, it's strategy games like this are their own sort of breed. But it's good to see you all the same. Alright, so we got... Alright, now we've got our fortitude up to where we're getting morale when we defend, and they get negative morale when they're defending. So, pretty nice split there. Alright, do we hit... Yeah, I mean, clearly we do. It's obviously the right move. We're going to move up this way. We should be able to reinforce with this army. You know, that's desirable for obvious reasons. And we'll just give him this movement thing because... Yeah. Sorry, 12 royal guard is also acceptable. We'll try to see what we can do. Yeah, alright, there we go, and then we get this. We are very clearly not taking a medium casualties here. It's not gonna happen. You know, we don't have a whole lot of stuff, but we'll be able to make it work. Dong Zhuo is quite injured, so he won't be back anyway. And, you know, maybe we'll be able to get this execute here, right? That is the hope. Because I'm reading the book right now, I'm doing all this stuff, and I'm like, oh man, I wish I would take the extra time to write a cool narration, you know, for all of this. I'm like, we need to get a vanguard that shows up. It'll be like someone who knew, like, Liu Bosch's, like, family or whatever. Oh man, you know, I had remembered that story, but it just burns me up every time. I'm like, Cao Cao, how could you? They were just trying to give you some pork, man. It's terrible behavior. Because this army is so tattered, but you know, it'll work. It'll be fine. Not least because we're going to be able to shoot their commander immediately. And we've got a backup guy. You know, Earthen Rampart is very good. I like it a lot. So, when it comes to red tech, I'm the guy who wants to go for supplies anyway. That's what I believe in. And we're just going to take some shots at him, man. Yeah, let's, you know, we give a tremendous arcing shot there. Pretty funny stuff. You know, here's my up and over shot with a crossbow, but pretty sure we will get a hit. Boom, baby. This crossbow's got plenty of ammo, and we will like eventually start hitting some of them. Yeah, no, it's actually once we get his other ability, it's going to be very good. But here, you know, this is already amazing, right? Because his ability to just go up and say, "Bam! I'm going to use this crossbow. I'm going to take care of all of this red cav," because we're going to be able to end this with basically no damage at all, right? We're just going to shoot him up. Easy. It's so different going into a world where we gotta like worry about how much money stuff costs, right? And now that all the red cav is gone, they're like, okay, fine. You should be for the Lucian's got his book of the door. Oh, that's fun. There's no yellow turban uprising in him as he has first row on crossbows. Yeah, I was reading some stuff about Liu Chong and stuff. You know, for a modern reader, you often see stuff, you know, ritual things, what we would deem superstition because we're not a part of that belief structure, right? I run into it myself all the time with Rome where they're like, could they really believe this? I'm like, yeah, people definitely believe the stuff they say they believe, right? I mean, at least some. And here we run in at the yellow cav, get him with this hamstring. But because Liu Chong, right, whenever he was a younger man, got charged with impiety, which is like a capital offense for like, you know, giving the wrong sacrifice, you know, asking like an impious gift of the gods type of thing. And then they ended up not killing him, but like some other dude who was around him who should have known better. I was just reading about it, you know, but you know, fascinating stuff. To think that this guy who history looks at, you know, pretty rosily, you know, in terms of like being like an amiable and good dude, and they were like, you know, you sacrificed improperly at a shrine, and that could have been the actual end of you because someone said you did this. What he did was activate a station. They had previously, yeah, like I had read that too. It's like right before they're like, man, we just did this thing. Sacrifice to like Huang Gai or something. And I remember because I read it and I'm like, is that the dude's name? Because I'm so ignorant, you know. And I'm like, I bet even if it is a dude's name, it also means this other thing. I didn't look it up. I was in the middle of, you know, reading my other stuff. All right, and we get another 984 money. Very good. And he falls over. We get a follow-up onto the whole other side. That's not ideal, obviously. But, you know, it'll have to do. Well, I mean, it's not super terrible. Yeah, we can get to there to reinforce in one turn, and I don't think they get there in that amount of time. So, you know, abstractly, not too bad. Of course, with Dong Zhuo being right there, he'll always be able to come back. Being yellow emperor and not being thoughts. Oh, okay. Not at all, yeah. I was, you know, I'm really bad about this when I read, which is I don't think about how a name would sound at all. I don't vocalize it, and I don't, like, give it any importance in my head at all, except, like, as a signifier. Like, this name means this guy, and if I later learn that they're related, you know, then they get thrown into the tree, but I don't look at a thing and think, you know, do I recognize that one? It's just like, that's not the exact same, or if it is, you know, it's whatever, like, and especially, because I like Rome so much, and everyone there has the same name, except for, like, one little thing, so I'm just so used to glossing over stuff all the time. I'm like, oh yeah, Septimius, sure, you know. And, but specifically, I never think about how things would sound. But, well, that's a lot of money we get over the turn. And maybe Cao Cao will see things my way. Poor young Emperor Xin. And we get a Protector of the Three Realms ability. You know, like, I would love to give people their titles more. Man, I'm reading... Now that I'm reading Romance again, Romance of the Three Kingdoms again, I'm remembering, like, a couple weeks ago, I'm like, man, they just hand out general chariots and cavalry. Now I'm reading it again, I'm like, oh, my perception was that because things were so bad and in flux that they were constantly taking it away from people and giving it to other people. It didn't mean it wasn't important, you know, but, like, you know, that's part of, like, how it's illustrating the downfall of the Han, is that these titles are being constantly handed out to people who may not be deserving. Or, in some cases, who are not deserving, because they're like, I'm gonna stand out here with my army until you give me a thing. Which, like, despicable, right? Despicable. Now, we need to be able to eat. That's sort of online. We can't go too far from home because we have to be able to beat this Yellow Turban uprising that's going to be happening. Alright, so we got to drop the Peacekeeper, right? Taxi symptom helps, you know, 6. What we need... I don't think we have anybody with it, actually. I'm like, we just need a guy to replenish supply. Yeah, we don't have anybody that could even do it. Even if we had an assignment. The reserve rate is like 2. It is 2. It is still 2. But I guess it's about to go down to 0 population anyway. It's gonna go to 0 population next turn, right? Because there's only 33k. So would we even get any money at all? Because this is about to crash and burn. This whole run is about to die. You know, I clearly don't understand these game mechanics. I thought it was going well, and now this is happening. It's all about to be torn. But, you know, I guess I just thought I would walk in and take the land and it would work. This is a disaster. But I don't need to think about it. We'll just hit end turn and, you know, lose. Alright. We will support our relationship with Tyson. We will intimidate somebody into getting us more wine. It's not very nice, but you know. What are you gonna do? And here we can just make it tax exempt because it's not making money anyway. And we'll just, I guess, never make money out of this place again, which seems pretty bad. You know, it's a disaster. It's the only way to say it. Nobody lives here. You know, it's real bad. It's real bad. Cause nobody lives here, so we can't make money anyway. And we can't get anybody to live here, cause it's so unhappy. Anyway, yeah, it might be a game over. We'll figure it out. It doesn't matter, none of this matters. Cao Cao has absorbed the farmland, and we are almost certainly going to have to fight him here, and, well, not there, though, because that's a silly place. Yeah, you know, if we get a game over, then I guess we'll just play Zhengzheng again, where you don't have to try to make money.
"回家的感觉真不错。
We dropped the Royal Guard. We're not at war with anyone. Sure we are. He's right here.
好的，请讲。伐交如伐兵。 心怀坦诚，则你我牢不可破。力求上进，领教我的力量。
The Yellow Turbans have taken Hu Mao Pass.
And
I helped. You know, Luba's gonna take credit for this. But you and me and everybody know that the end of the Tyrant Dong Zhuo was at the hand of Liu Chong.
贼臣已死，于禁之中。
The fall of the Tyrant. You can also blame him for the state it's in. Yeah. Alright, so.
有必要吗?
Now it's 24 points. Even better. So he's rich, and he actually will give us quite a lot of money, right? So we hit him here. You know, the regular payments, we want as much out of this one as we can get, really. You know, because what if he doesn't live that long? But, you know, 2 grand now and 4 grand over the 10 turns.
你的提案不错。
And because everybody else hasn't wheeled on him yet, he... Yeah, even if he lives fine, he's an easy opponent. Indeed, Jiling is the hardest thing about him, and he is no more. Well, ain't that something? Now, I kind of want to pick up both Qingong and him, because Qingong leads us into the storyline where we've got the guy who knows that Cao Cao murdered that whole family on his way out, right? And that gives us the internal justification for having an antagonistic relationship with Cao Cao as soon as we can do. And obviously, Chutai... Yeah. He's reformed, right? He's a reformed brigand, and the best way to show that... Oh yeah, we could have taken it to him with that. But yeah, wonderful stuff. And that'll give him the solemn trust. It's an unshatterable weapon for a warrior with unimpeachable faith. And that's better than this trident, which is a silly thing. I mean, obviously it's an awesome trident. We can give this guy the shield wall thing, because actually, these fools with shield wall... Oh, they can't adopt advanced formations, probably. Even with that, they wouldn't be able to, I imagine. Well, without the shield wall, because that doesn't work, it's still a good idea. It isn't. Alright, so... do we drop the Royal Guard? That's the only real question here, right? And do we peace out with Liu Chong? Drone get on assignments? Yes, as soon as we can get assignments, that would be a good idea. We do not have an assignment slot. So we cannot currently make that dream a reality. We need 11 prestige to become a noble, and that's not even gonna... It's not even gonna get us any abilities that are good, right? But hey... for that. I saw one that also gives you lower satisfaction and corruption. Probably worth doing anyway. Alright, we just need 2. Alright, he might be losing this iron mine to a rebellion. Yeah, so we might be losing the Iron Mine to a rebellion. Do we want to move in to take it? Well, it'll be in 2 turns, and then the rebellion... I mean... we don't want to move and drop the mustering, right? Oh yeah, that gives you a little bit more. This is one Liu Biao. I'll put Liu Biao in. I was just reading up to where the Emperor falls in with the bandits in the mountains and stuff and comes back to the ruined Luoyang, and he's just met up with Cao Cao. In fairness, is the first scene the first scene in the entire Romance of the Three Kingdoms where Cao Cao seems like he's literally just doing the right thing, even though we know that he's self-interested. It still is like, it's very well established at the point that the Guoxi and Li Shu are just like absolutely rotten scoundrels, right? And that all the other people around the Emperor aren't great either. And you know, there's... No, for sure. Yeah, I mean, like, very clearly, everywhere the Emperor had been for a while was not suitable. Alright, yeah. We just wait. We'll lose our fortitude, right? It's fine, you know, you can't do anything about that. It's not... You know, it's nice because, like, the ability is, like, okay. But fundamentally, it's not that much experience for the units. It's probably not even noticeable, in fact. 8 a turn is, like, basically nothing. I mean, you can get, like, 75 from, like, you know, a thing. Alright. People are getting upset. This guy is feeling his lack of purpose. Do we just get rid of you? He has teaching assignment, though, which is really good. The thing is, though, is, like, if you allow anybody that is unhappy to be around... Yes, here's a ritual item. Technically a threat, but don't think too much about it. Well, if we win more siege battles, we can get population growth, so there's that, you know. There's a lot of things that... It's like, I don't want you to feel like you're not going to have anything to get buried with. I mean, do we think Shenggong is a real Polo also? I mean, I assume so, right? Yeah, because he's from the Han there. You know we like this guy. We know this guy's good. Can we afford it, though? Like, for the plotline? Yeah, I think for the plotline it's important. I agree. You just pick him up. He'll be hard to keep happy, but hey, you know, what are you gonna do? Oh, and he's got the analyze weakness, yeah. Which is on the other side of the tree. Which I remember now. I'm like, yeah. But yes, he shows up and allows us to get first-hand knowledge of Cao Cao's just, like, honestly, incredibly poor behavior. From, like, you know, like, coming from, like, a Greek perspective, right? And, you know, you have different... Rather than the teacher guy, yeah. For sure. I mean, plus Analyze Weakness is very good, and having night battles immediately and fire arrows, you know, like we don't have that exactly now and won't have it soon, so... Teaching assignment is one. What teachers? I thought teaching assignment was the one where you got more experience in the area. Alright, so we just stay here. Do we peace out with Liu Chong?
来谈谈吧。
You know, I feel like if we can get the sword out of it, and we can definitely get the sword out of it, right? Because the sword is both amazing and, like, it's going to be great. And a non-aggression pact. Likes to go to surgery, exactly. And the non-aggression, you know, because this is good here because in this timeline, you know, Li Zhu's worst behavior comes, like, after this, you know, so maybe because we have just killed Dong Zhuo, right? We did that, and now we have the sword, and now we've got peace, you know, so this represents us being like, look, we're not going to be, like, burn the body in the streets or whatever. You can give the guy a funeral, send him back to his old 90-year-old mother and whatnot. You know, we don't have to flip out about this exactly, you know. But, by the way, the Blade of Xiang Yu, like, y'all don't deserve to hold on to that. I'm sure you'll understand that as, you know, the guy who's got the sword right now can get it. But here, you know, we'll give you a little bit of money to help pay for the funeral to show, you know, the regard we hold, the blah, 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 you know, to make Li Zhu feel a little better about the fact that we're getting the sword. The Tyrant is slain. Glorious day. And, of course, now we get quite the punchy little prize for Liu Chong. Ain't that pretty? Ain't that good? You know, it occurred to me, you know, because that, I guess that would always happen, right? Because the turn that he dies, they're not going to have a time to equip it to somebody, so that's your chance to make peace with it, which is actually like a great little tie-in because, hey, I deserve it, right? I deserve it. 18 authority. Oh, yeah. That is more than nothing. And we need an heir, right? We need an heir. We need... Like, does anybody like us? Does anybody want to marry into our family?
说吧。
We're already married into the same family. We're of the same family.
我还以为你死了。
Do we truly want to... Unflappable and collected, you know. It seems like a nice setting of things. We really want to marry into the Sai family. That's a sketchy thing.
该好好谈谈了。
I'm not saying that's a good way to get popped, but... You can afford to seek spouse, yeah. You know, for all that, I feel like it's a disaster because no one wants to live here. Maybe things are getting better.
"吾等耐性有限，真是倍感荣幸。
Okay, so here we can actually start palling around with Liu Biao, which is very good indeed, right? And this is exactly what we want to do. Because if we get military access on Liu Biao, then we'll be able to move up there. So this is perfect.
足下有事相依。
Say, I think there's no ordinance against major settlement this early without any public order. Okay. You know, I guess I just didn't think of that at all. My plan was just like, can I get here and win this fight? How am I liking Liu Chong so far? Oh, Ellie, it is wonderful. You know, we're having some trouble in some regards, but we've slain the Tyrant, which I'm sure you can appreciate is exactly what we want to do. And yeah, you know, things are good. All right. Why don't you just give me some money? You know, just to help us a little bit here. And this actually gets us into a nice spot with Liu Biao, makes him like us better. And these guys are his vassals. They're unlikely to attack us out from under him. I think they won't, right? They just won't. Cooperative to come. Yeah. Yeah, what a fun way. It says 0%, but you know, you can't trust the game. I remembered it doing it on Chongchong, right? He's like, no, cooperate with me. It's easy.
你的提案不错。
But now we've got our little setup here. And I mean, there's no reason not to get a couple of non-aggression packages. I mean, these guys are vassals anyway, so any money at all that we get, and plus, you know, a little bit of diplomacy might go a long way, right? Now that finally people like us enough. And, you know, he's a little mad for treaties with our enemies, but we get him in underneath it before he notices that we've made a couple more of them, and we'll be able to get, you know, look, every little bit helps, right? This 120, really it's about getting him into the positives. But there we go. Getting some nice diplomacy there. And he is, you know, just hanging out there. Do we drop Jutai now on the grounds that we're probably not going to use him? Hey, Neo! How's it going? Sorry, eating some dinner? Nice. I ate dinner earlier. 2 packs of Maruchan chicken ramen. The finest ramen in the world that you can buy at Walmart. In packages. I would argue for dropping him. Yeah, you know, he was part of the original plan. Just for the replan, but, you know... The thing is he has low desire for the higher office... You know, so it's, you know, he'll probably be fine even if we get to level 2, but do we really want to pay him 50 a turn? Yeah, you know, every little bit helps, right? I do love Flames of the Phoenix. Because what I want to do, you know, we need to get 3 heroes into this army. And then, you know, just drop the army, right? And then they'll be like the garrison force. And then if they're hanging out at the capital, them I should see, you know, and then, you know, at least if nobody's home, we'll be able to get something going on. But yeah, get him and Qingong in there. Qingong at least... Yeah, but we don't really have that much food, right? Because he goes down -2 just, like, for being around. So, like, as soon as he's out, we'll go down to almost no food. Like, in the winter, I think we're going to go down to, like, 1 food. So if we pulled him out, then he wouldn't get to do it. If we grab the D guy, then we have to drop his units, or we have to pay for his units, and that goes against, like, the idea. And they are quite decent. They're very, very respectable. But you have the benefit of having a cheap retinue. All right. These are 320 upkeep. Yeah, we're not affording that. All right, we'll just... You know... Just because you're losing these units now doesn't mean you'll never get them back again, buddy. Give you this. I wonder if the hammer spear works on a gate. We'll have to test that someday. Drop him. Yeah, you know, he's never going to make me happy because he's never going to have mighty knockback for himself or his retinue. And I just think that's sad. He's good. I mean, he's fine. But I love mighty knockback. This guy, he gets it for himself. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Which is very, very nice indeed. And this Peak Breaker, I'm interested to see what it's like. Maybe it's like, I'm targeting thing, but yeah, because he's got a heal, and he's got mighty knockback for himself, and, you know, and then he's got the missile cavalry thing, I think. I think he'll be quite nice indeed. But anyway... Let's get moving. Splash you can aim. Oh, okay, that is interesting. Alright, let's just... Like, wait? I mean, there's nothing else to do right now. No, that's not true, but we just need to, yeah. The food building old... You know, to be fair, a sort of slow beginning is not atypical in this game, right? You know, your replenishment is low, and if your name's not Cao Cao, the game just doesn't hand everything to you. Ha 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 ha. Go get him, girl! Go get him! Liu Pan joins the war against the Turbans. Ma Tong declares on Liu Zhuo. Liu Chong, this harried refugee has arrived, but you know, we'll just hold that thought, right? Alright, we need to find a wife, unless we can diplo a wife. Because this dude loves us now. Well, not enough to trade with us, though.
欢迎，请进。但愿能谈出些结果来。请进，朋友。
Yeah, it's not gonna work. Alright. Because we can just recruit Royal Guard again later. The Peacekeepers will take longer. The Peacekeepers aren't... So they're a great unit, right? But how much are they really doing, right? Because fundamentally, they shoot 1/4 of the crossbow bolts that a crossbowman shoots, right? That's what happens, is they shoot 1/4 of the bolts. So... do I ever use them well enough to justify spending 440 on it? So we can just drop them for a very excellent crossbow. And the Royal Guard for a crossbow.
大人，有何吩咐？
And then we'll have axes we'll be able to have spread, you know, for the quadrants of the infantry blob. We'll have one unit of cavalry to get in there, you know, and this will be a broadly, theoretically affordable thing. And Taishitsi can get this for, you know, income from industry, because that'll ever happen.
荣耀等着我们。
And we get a little higher there. And we're garrisoning here. And, you know, maybe... because this falls... you know, maybe the Yellow Turbans take it, right? And we... alright, let's... so the Yellow Turbans take it, and then somehow we like 3-man micro
大
it.
人召我，
This guy does have Mighty Knockback and heals, you know. Now that I'm seeing it, I'm like, this guy has Mighty Knockback and heals.
主公尽管吩咐。主公召我，
And you should be commanding this army, my man. Alright. I miss my boys. My beautiful units. But, you know, with what we've got here, you know... literally on this city, not the mine. Oh, right. Well, you know... that is interesting. But it looks like Gongdu has been popped, right? So now, you know, things are falling into place.
荣耀。
We have the ability to move across this land. You know, we did recruit a bunch of things here. But... alright. Right, they don't have the same owner. So it's like public order for Yuan Shu's thing, and then Cao Cao's thing, and then the other one, I think. But yes, the rebellion thing is kicking. And the Yeshua pieces out there, and we have gotten a scholar. Well, yeah, great, yeah. You know, he sees things our ways. We will wear this. It's a refined scholar of the future. The Prince of Chen, you know, no stranger to the good things in scholarship, right? As one day we dream of being a noble. Yes, yes, alright. And hey, we're not currently, like, at war that matters, and reject. We know what cooperation means. Gongdu has been destroyed. Cao Cao is having some trouble in his neighborhood, and a civil war has broken out with Li Chua. And we'll see. These guys are the worst. Yang Feng over here. So, like, you know, things are coming in right as they're supposed to. Except the yellow turbans are in Luoyang, which is interesting. That does mean if we could, you know, get over there, we'd be able to colonize it. However, I'm not trespassing on... Hey. That's how actually... You know, to get... Do we want to give him military access? Do we want to get it... I mean, we're not going to go take Luoyang, right? So... But we do... If we're at 0.6 for non-aggression, we might as well push that through with something, right? Oh, I took the young... That's a good point. You know, I guess... I think the prestige, yeah. How do we get the pass, right? I mean, it's an obvious way to go because there are, you know, bandits there. Alright, so let's... pay him a lot for military access. The alternative to paying is trespassing, which isn't good. We're giving him an ancillary, which I don't want to give him any of these. But I guess we could drop, like, you know, the Because it is like, if we give him like 1,000... Let's go ahead and say goodbye to you, buddy. I was delighted to pay you 1,000 for your spear. Hey! Look, a bouncing baby boy. They are brilliant, gracious, and perceptive. Luo Dong, the humble Dawn. This would have been Luo Jun's kid. Well, good for them. Oh, right, if we leave, then the public order doesn't recover. You know, that is a problem. Like, do we upgrade the city just because... Just because it's going to take 4 turns and we can afford it right now? Hey, there's population! Hey guys, pay your taxes! Joy! No, it's still at 2K, which means no money. Alright, wonderful. Yeah, so we could get assignments, but that gives us low satisfaction plus corruption. I mean, we could, you know, you can get around that. It's not that big of a problem. Tech for public order, we need a tax building. Need a tax building for it. Alright, so... if we go and make a mustering thing after the tax building, then we can get a whole nother army, which... we didn't really do this in any of the campaigns we've done since I came back, but getting an army of just generals is, as we know, very amazing. But I love the idea that, like, how the story is going, right? Where Liu Chong steps up, bashes Yuan Shu because everybody knows he sucks, and then, like, defeats the Tyrant, casts him down, and, you know, takes the Blade of Xiang Yu for himself, and then, like, settles down in Nanyang to administer peacefully to the people. Pop. Yeah. You know, so why not see how it goes? We'll at least get something out of it. Do we get the woodcutter? After all, in a couple of turns it'll start making money. I think probably building the town is better, right? Because we get this, and then we're going to want to go to level 4 as well, like, as soon as we can. The patrol gives public order a bit, and that's at least something. The solemn trust is given to you, Liu Chong, the guardian of the people. Oh, and he actually gives +4 public order to the local county, too, so it's like... I don't even know if that's applying to these people, but it should. Two residents here. Try for Luoyang, which is risky and slows recovery in our one complete province, but gives us prestige. And a shot for the tax collector. It is risky. Because if we go for it and it doesn't work... But I mean, it would work, right? It would work. Because we can just pay Cao Cao for access. Oh, it's 2k per place that you have from the reform, I think. So if the public order is just stabilized here at where it is, it'll go to +3. Yeah, it'll be almost okay. This army is totally capable, because all we have to do is get inside, right, for the gate pass. And we can, you know, we can just roll the gate thing, yeah. Alright, yeah, so first we need...
说吧.
his permission to walk over the land, which we have... Alright, we're gonna, like, unequip one of these guys. Because I don't want to give him money, and I don't have any money, but this adept is not gonna put me out. And we'll just ask for a little bit of money because, look, any money at all is worth getting. And now we've got military access with him. You know, Chang'an has let us know that he's trouble, but that makes it all the more important that we don't allow a person like that access to Luoyang, right? Because if he takes that, then he's one step closer to the Emperor, and we know what he did. We hit here. Ah, well. There goes that plan. You know, that's basically the one thing that could have went wrong. Well, I mean, it's fine. All we lose is the mustering bonus. The freedom of movement with Cao Cao is desirable anyway. And honestly, if we take this gate pass, it's not a bad thing to have, right? It does cost money, but we can defend a gate pass. And it gives you a huge replenishment boost, so, you know. Yeah. Well, let us continue on. Alright, we're gonna pay him for a trade agreement. I feel like that's fine, right? Normally I would never do this, you know me, but I feel like this is fine. We'll make a little bit of money out of the arrangement. And Cao Cao, I don't see him, because he's got other problems in his neighborhood, right? I don't see him just, like, trying to bushwhack me right now. Not least because I'm not at war with anybody, so he knows that my strength is always there. We could trade it for... Oh, yeah. Diplomacy. Yeah, so we'll take this. And of course, as long as he has other problems around, and he does, then... Like, where's Yuan Shu going right here, right? He's not coming at me. He's paying me still. I don't think he's trying to secretly attack me. That would be funny. He is beat up. I'm sure he's running away from someone. If he's running away from Cao Cao, it doesn't look like it's working, does it? Ooh! That was a lot of war declarations there. I think it was just an alliance hitting everybody. Zheng Sui, the unheeding bureaucrat. Well, hardly what you want to see in a guy. Ooh. Ooh. Welcome to the party, buddy, while we figure out what we're doing. And you're not even a spy. You're a fierce beast. Charge speed and charge bonus for shock cavalry. And you've come with the Warlord's Bane, Flames of the Phoenix, normal guy, vengeful, defiant, and fiery. Yeah, so it's like, this guy is that one. It is indeed that one. I was like, I was just reading about him. Well, I'm like, man, should we even keep this guy? I mean, we're going to take it. We're obviously going to take the thing. And give it to you, and give it to you, yeah. At least for now. Oh, right, you're right. You don't even want to be here. And plus, he used to work, you know, for Dong Zhuo, which, look, whether or not we pieced out with him doesn't mean that we need to, like, be palling around with these disreputable sorts. We'll send him on his way. Worth. Plus, he's supposed to be that. Yes, indeed. We've turned him into a llama now. Yuan Nanyang. See, that's who we need to marry. My beautiful girl. No, speaking of, we still have not gotten a wife yet. I keep on doing other stuff. Well, at least we've got, you know, a little bit here. Do we just move for the past now? Or, well, no, we go here. We're still... Alright, so it's plus a little bit, and if we get the taxes, it goes to the negative, though, so we need to... That's rough. I mean, I guess we can... Need to upgrade the garrison. Yeah, we could do this for like a turn, right? Because we had a little bit of a window where we were getting public order. Yeah, like, because -3, we can get it for a turn or two. before it goes, and we're still getting positive, and I feel like that's desirable. We'll get the money to upgrade it in one turn if we get this tax, right? So we'll do that, and then we'll get this. Instead of getting married again, Liu Chong can spend some more time with his crossbows before we make him get a wife. Because it's important, too, because the book, right? The book, if we get that on an heir, we're going to immediately get a little stronger here. And Yuan Shu looking like a chump over there. I mean, Liu Biao here with a level 6 city. I remember what it was like. I remember what it was like starting with vassals and a ton of money. You know, I was smart to choose him for my first run. Oh, right. Still got to finish that. Like, Yuan Shu's, is he, like, trying to think about fighting Dongmin and can't figure out how to get at him? Well, you know, good for him.
欢迎朋友。请进，朋友。
Alright, he doesn't really want to give me that. That's okay. How about you give me some money? Because I want this contract anyway. It makes Cao Cao a little upset, but not that upset. And, hey, money's money. And now we'll have enough to build this, so we'll just turn the taxes back off. What an interesting run this is already. But just brainstorming, I couldn't even see a route to success staying in the central plains, like, on the other side of these mountains here. I was just like, you know, we've got to be bold, because I didn't think I could beat Cao Cao, like immediately fighting him, and I still don't think that I could. Now that we've got 3 gold weapons in the main army, like, it's a whole different proposition, right? The Taishitsi pickup is crazy, too. Like, what a good campaign we're at. But here... Alright, we're gonna say that caution is good. It's better to look before you leap. Yeah, there you go. And we get a feather fan range damage for crossbow's own army. You know, I'm pretty sure that that works on all of it now, and we will test it. There you go, Luke. It's definitely the AP damage that you get from all the crossbow stuff in the mod. Boom, baby. I don't even know where that fan came from, but at least we got it. Okay. If we can get her... But are you a spy? I'm like, you'd be a good wife, but are you a spy? I'm like, increased provisions, I love that ability. We took that other admin tech, I wasn't thinking, you know. Unfortunately, it's a crummy little garrison with no casualties, which means, of course, we're gonna be able to pop them because the amazing thing, the beautiful thing, the thing you love about a gate pass is that you get a big replenishment boost for being there. About regular first confident. Ah, yeah. Well, now we're cautious. Look, we did what we had to do, okay? When the Tyrant was trying to destabilize everything, we did what we had to do. We were as cautious as we could have been. Maybe slightly less. This yellow turban banner is so good. I'm so glad we picked that up. It really just makes our axes reputable, right? 40 morale's a whole sight better than 30 is. It's, you know, it's a boost in a whole tier, essentially. Because the other stuff in a tier matters, right? Oh, here's some damage, here's some armor, whatever. But truly, that 10 points of morale, you're not going to notice it, but you're going to be like, what happened to all of my army? Oh, what's up, guys? I don't think it's important to do that manually. Yeah, low casualties, we take very few indeed, and we'll just roll them up the next turn. Yeah. Here, we hit recruit for the Diplo boost. I mean, 200 income is 200 income, but I think the slight Diplo boost is desirable here, right?
一统天下。
That is funny. Came in right from underneath him. Oh, he's still at war with everybody. Of course he is. Yuan Shu, you've declared yourself an emperor. Well, I can't wait until our arrangement is over so that we can shuffle you off this mortal coil. That's outrageous. 3 more turns, and then, well, this dangerous upstart, we'll see what he can do. Alright, get this for the public order. And we get... it's just a very base level pass, that makes sense. But, you know, we still get a boost from it. 5% is still definitely something. And it's only 50 a turn, right? So... Alright, so we trade the Hu Mao pass. No, it won't let him trade it. Maybe because it's under siege at the moment. Yeah, it's under siege by Dongmin. We'll have to wait then. Yeah. Actively under siege, so he took it from out from underneath him, and then he must have attacked him while he was sieging the El Turban settlement, moving him off, and then settled it into it himself, and now Dongmin has come back. But well, it'll still be safe for it. Yeah, Battle of the Victor. I'm like, we'll still be safe to run back home from here.
唯有胜利方能开创未来。
A little bit more money. Good profiteer. Hey, you know, we unironically we defeated the Tyrant, okay? So like you're a deceitful and disloyal guy. You know, I like everything about you except that. Strategies of the Warring States. I almost want to get it, but like I feel like we need to be saving our money for, you know, applications at this point. We'll get the public order there, make a little bit of money, or yeah, he'll be back soon enough. We'll be able to upgrade this, and then well, if we run back, well, we'll just see, because it might, yeah, like he just knocks him off right there. That makes sense. So, because it's not like we want to not defend Luoyang, but how would we defend it if, like, Cao Cao wants to attack it? But I just, you know, I gotta stop worrying about him. You know, I gotta stop worrying about him so much. And he has demanded supplies. You want 5 grand? Nah, dude, I'm alright. Also, you've declared yourself emperor under heaven, and I'm not giving you anything. Oh, Yuan Shu's greatly angered? Okay. Because I'm, like, so American, right? Whenever there's a character in a book who, like, gets all, you know, full of himself. And it's like, ooh, I'm a big noble. I'm so much cooler than you are. And I'm like, ah! And that, you know, like when Yuan Shu, whenever Liu Bei shows up, he's like, oh, I'm sorry, am I supposed to listen to a guy who doesn't even have a good job? And I'm like, oh, I hate this guy. He's like, no, no, no. I mean, like, if we're just listening to everybody who doesn't even have a good job. I guess we name him Orator. I mean, if we want to hold on to him, we'll need to give him a job. Oh, we've got another admin slot. Well, if we do this, you know, it would need to be not for this place. No, it would ideally be a guy who had, like, a retinue. Alright. Let's see about Luoyang now. Alright, 13 to make it work. If we just give him a bunch of stuff that I don't want to give him at all, like my 6 silver warblade, we can totally make it work, right? But do we want to do that? Because we didn't really spend that much getting this done.
别来无恙。老友来访，甚是欣慰。
Yeah, it's not quite enough money to make it work. Which means we could definitely drop a couple of ancillaries and just barely get there. Would that be desirable?
“参见大人。”
We are 7 away on prestige.
唯有胜利方能开创未来。
The ancient capital, yes, yes.
“朋友，欢迎。”
Alright, so if we... get all of these, then it's much more doable. Yeah. Indeed. It's the gold weapons that I could never stand to part with anyway. Not just because they're so good, but because, I mean, they're gold. I love gold. The smell of it, the sight of it, the feel of it, the texture. Yeah, so we do this, and we get Luoyang, and that is, I mean, broadly speaking, very good, right? We do have freedom of movement with Cao Cao, and, yeah. We make our trade, and it pushes us out either side of it, and we rank up. This is very important, of course, because it lets us get, you know, stuff. Assignments, yeah, and then... like another assignment, maybe. Because we need to be able to get people leveled up. And getting 4, I mean, yeah, it's probably the answer. Trade. 1 trade agreement, I mean, it would make us some money. It's not terrible. Certainly not spies. I mean, not that spies is bad. You know, I'm unlikely to use them well, whereas a trade agreement would pay for itself eventually. Maybe. Yeah, get the assignment, you know, and... yeah. Get trade. There's plenty of things we could get from that, and hey, and we're not that far from second marquee anyway, right? You know, at just 12 there. Luoyang gives us 15 prestige, so that's quite nice. You know, it might have pushed him up to it, but now we've gotten it. course, we now need to... Yeah, so teaching assignment is this one. It's the character experience for the whole thing there. It's not tutoring assignment to the children. So it is actually quite desirable, right? But we will be able to supervise the construction here. And as good as teaching assignment might be, you know, I guess we do it. Yeah, I guess we do. Yeah, because it would be 2 grand. Yeah, we wouldn't be able to do it here. Yes, no taxes. But we do have an chancellor slot now. You know, this would make everybody want a better job. It's like, can we rather need him to be... Historically, that is his job, yeah. You know, we could just do it. It would make everybody want a better job, which is too bad. I'm like, who's good at this? Well, either of these guys will give the public order. Well, you know, why not the muster of armies here? And that'll give him red cavalry that'll be there protecting it, you know, and, yeah. Why not? It's because going to somebody like him would actually make him happier. We'll give it to you for a while for the public order and stuff. And then if we elect to get rid of him, then we'll elect to get rid of him. And while we're there, you know, that'll at least be something. Do we... Because now I'm like, how do we protect this place and our main place? Like, do we just pick this up to try to, you know... Hold on? Protect from who? Indeed. I guess... I'm just so paranoid, right? I'm just so paranoid. Everybody likes us, right? Everybody likes us, except Chang'an. Would he come across the waters? No, these are impassable shallows here on this side. Yeah. You'd have to go quite far around. Everybody loves us. Man, Cao Cao, doing alright for himself. Jeez. And we get this one for population growth, and, yeah. Good job, Chancellor.
真是倍感荣幸。
It pays for itself in, like, you know, 2 turns. We don't have anybody else to trade with. I mean, yeah, money's money, right?
好，准了。为了传承，大步向前。
Oh, we want to go here so that we can get another army the turn after this one. Because we also might just want to roll up and murk Yuan Shu. That is like a good thing to do with our time.
这会符合足下的利益。
It shouldn't be called cooperate. And that tooltip shouldn't lie. But looks like, did Yingxiao just take the temple, or yes, and it hasn't updated. Well, you know, Cao Cao at least has other fish frying. The Han Empire destroyed from the map. Hu Mao has taken this over here. Of course, that's a lot of walking to get to me. Hey, my legend spreads now that we can finally do an assignment. We get 10 public order faction wide and 10 recruitment lowered, so that's actually pretty nice, right? Zhao Ho Rong. Has this military requisition thing. I think we take him in order to get access to that. And then get rid of him because he is a relative of Cao Cao and a spy. Yes, indeed, my legend spreads. What a thing we've done, right? Taishitsi gets to level 3. You know, we nearly did it. Shengong is upset. Alright, so we're either going to get rid of him now or not. Which is it? Yeah. You know, I think, yeah, maybe we just send him on his way. Just say, hey, you know, thanks for pointing that out about Cao Cao. You know, I'm sure you want to get back to your family. And, you know, obviously, if you ever want to come and serve the Han with us again. He's mad we aren't immediately suiciding this up top. Yeah, you know, and fair enough, but, you know, look, this was always about defeating the Tyrant for us. You know, we can't just go on declaring wars about these things, as bad as it is. You know, the Prince of Chen has an obligation to one day try to become the Prince of Chen again, but right now the Prince of Nanyang has to see after his stuff. So what we're gonna do here is build the small city. That'll put us not quite upside down on food yet, right? Yeah. Alternately, we build food first. It builds in a turn. Desirable enough. And it gives a little bit of money, too. And we have huge public order now, which is getting all of these places exactly where we need to be. Oh, faction support, though. Yes, of course. Yes, he's told us now we know, and that is at least half of the battle. Gong, you're a good guy, but you're fired. Taishitsi gets beautiful public order and lower corruption for administered commandery, which seems better than income from industry. For now, you know. Good. That'll, you know, that'll kick things up. And even better, you know, everything's coming together. You know, the people are returning every season. Thousands more stream into the lands here at Nanyang. Happy that a reliable and good guy can be in charge of a thing and that it can actually work out. You know, our income is there. Liu Chong is hanging out with a lot of crossbows. He wishes he had some more. But yeah, had to return order indeed. You know, and now we've been recognized as a noble again. It was Yuan Shu's fault. And, you know, soon enough, we'll go and deal with him. Cao Cao, to his credit, likes us a whole lot. And if we just keep on doing what we have to do, and, you know, we might just stay palled around with him until we can find the opportune moment to, you know, get him. What I got all distracted with, like, you know, I know it's different things. So, like, coming from, like, a Greek story, right? What Cao Cao did, because, like, I love those stories so much and stuff. It's called Xenia, right? Which is, like, you know, the obligations that you have to a stranger. And this is not unique to Greek culture at all. And I'm sure a version of it exists in Chinese culture as well. But, you know, you have more of, like, the family structure, which is even more important. You know, the filial stuff, which is more important than, like, taking care of strangers, I guess. You know, like, you get a lot of stories about people that, like, invite people into their house and then murk them in Chinese history. In Greece, that's, like, the worst thing, right? And I had a lot of, like, thinking about that, because, like, maybe that's why, like, I was so, like, revolted by Cao Cao as a character, because that's, like, his first big villain moment. And, like, if you're reading that in a Greek book, that's saying that this guy is the worst dude that you've ever met. Hospitality, exactly. Yeah. Xenia, from, you know, ia for the suffix for love, you know, like xenophobia, but like Xenia, you know, there, where it's, you're supposed to like them. There's a, oh, it's, Philemon and Baucis, right? Where they, it's the classic story of a peasant family, like an old man and an old woman there, and, you know, strangers show up, which are actually gods, and then, you know, they give them a bunch of, you know, food that they couldn't really afford type of thing, and then the gods, you know, turn them into trees afterward. You know, one of those things.
算我求你个人情。
That's not a guarantee that Luoyang is real. Yeah. Look, I'm not saying I don't want to marry your daughter. But we can't give you our lumberyard for it. Nishu is being sieged by Yongfeng. There's a surprise. Yeah, you know, hey, sometimes things work out, right? That is super funny. I saw that he was over there at the fishing port. Thinks Liu Chong is older than Cao Cao. So that'd be a real Pompey situation. Yeah. Yeah, because, you know, that would make him our father-in-law, which is not desirable abstractly, right? Sun Jian forms a coalition with Yuan Shu. Sun Jian, you should be ashamed of yourself. Cao Cao demands autonomy guarantee, and gets it, I assume. Cao Cao now... His father is slain. I was just reading that in the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. You know, I'm like a chapter or two past it, but... Yep. You know, they formed their coalition. You know, they... Man, if this... Hanshin... you know, fresh off of their visions of the past. I mean, like, I just love this, honestly. I mean, not for the Emperor's sake. Who knows what's going to happen. But, you know, if Yongfeng ends up with the Emperor after... I mean, how historical indeed, right? Dong Zhuo gets popped. Li Zhua and Guo Si don't get along. Nobody knows why. And they have their little civil war, and then the bandits show up to escort the Emperor, you know, bravely away for a brief period of time. How fun. Well, and for Yongfeng, although, like, the Emperor would have, you know, been, like, what, like, over here-ish whenever they, like, came upon him or whatever. But... yeah, so everything's sort of happening. Yeah, because when they were up in the mountains with them, I was, you know, just reading romance, but it's just like, oh yeah, and then they, you know, got hundreds of appointments for, you know, their dudes. They were just like scratching the orders in with alls into tablets. I was like, I bet that's like a real diss in the time period, right? They're like, they didn't even get the appropriate tools to scratch in their orders. But I mean, I know that like the symbolism is very important, right? Keep reading about like the tablets and battle axes, because the tablets, that's like the tablet of orders where it's like you're allowed to like punish people for breaking the military law, right? And then the battle axe is like what we would call having like Imperium in the Rome thing. It's like, here's your lictors, here's your axe, you know, you're allowed to like run an army in this area type of thing, is my understanding anyway. I need to look it up, because often my understanding is very hazy and based on whatever. Anyway, what we've got here is the ability to go up again. No, let's get this higher, right? Let us just, now that we're making a little bit of money, double purpose of showing lack of legitimacy, and also the dire straits imperial authority is at that stage. Ah, yes. I see. The lack of legitimacy broadly, because I see too, yeah, because It's sort of like how it's devolving in, where at the beginning there's a lack of legitimacy, but with all the trappings of authority, and then the trappings of authority fall further and further away, and you just have like these court attendants and the emperor, but you know, they're still doing all the corrupt things that they were doing in the last place because they have to survive, which is, you know, from the emperor's perspective, if they ever had good enough information, they might often think that what is corruption is just, you know, being pragmatic. After all, what can the emperor really do against Cao Cao? Besides call him and be like, hey, come help me, and hope that he doesn't try to take all your stuff. Anyway, my legend spreads. The tax office will finish because it's harvest now, and that means it'll finish in the spring. Alright, so what we want to do here is... well, we could just go for Yuan Shu and try to pop him, right?
好的，请讲。
Oh, the capital is under siege, so we don't have the trade route with them. That's annoying. Oh, that's so annoying. Alright, so if we just come in and try to pop Yuan Shu, then it'll work and we'll get rid of him, right? Why to walk? No, we can get there in 2 turns. Maybe 3. Yeah, because we could just, like, march across that. We could get, like, right here, like, right now. Maybe 3. About supplies. Oh, yeah, because it is going to be winter. And then once we got there, the only move is what? To sell it off to Cao Cao, which is like, again, not abstractly terrible, but isn't that desirable. I'm just so chuffed that we got that. What a great run it's turning out to be, even though it takes a run. Yeah, you know, indeed. We couldn't just let like some bandits have control of the emperor. It's a lot of walking there. Do we just run with the army like this? I mean, I think so. Just because, what else do you do, right? You know, supervised construction is super good in the early game, right? When you get these 2 turns into single turns, it really makes a huge difference. Anyway. Is that Wang Yun there? Alright. Alright, buddy. Alright. Everybody's tough. Liu Bei invites Cao Cao into the coalition. Why does anybody want to be in a coalition with me? So, Xing Daorong and Luo Jun now become oathsworn, I think. And gets wounded. Get a military great axe.
如此甚善。
Like, why wouldn't you want me in your coalition? Why wouldn't any of y'all want me in the coalition?
真喜讯也。
It's hurtful is what it is.
朋友，别来无恙。 如此真叫人满意。
If your raw presence right, you know, they're just like, I can't. Well, non-aggression with you wouldn't be appropriate. Last I heard, you were besieging the Emperor. But it is time to find a spouse among filial candidates. After all, he's not getting any younger. Hu Shishong, a peacekeeper. He has public appeasement. I think that's the public order one, which will be good eventually. And the stone statue of Confucius for morale for the old self-army. And of course now we can make her the heir because, you know, she's not terrible at it. Bad heir. Well, I mean, just because she doesn't provide anything good. Certainly doesn't seem like she's got any negatives. Yeah. They don't get along, no. Yeah. Nobody likes his wife. It's alright. She's peacekeeper, though. And then she can take this to get range damage for crossbows. Which is now at 55 there. Very good. And then as soon as she gets one more level, we'll be able to get an additional assignment there from nobility. That'll be very desirable as well. Here. I mean, we might as well, right? No, we'll save up for one turn and then get this because that'll get us another slot. Oh yes, for the higher stats. Oh man, this went so well. You know, the Tyrant's dead. I'm so pleased. So pleased. We've got an excellent sword. Everything is, you know, looking up. All we have to do is make this all work, and Alright, where's the Emperor? And Yongfeng's thing, but like, is he there, or... They're under siege by the Yellow Turban Rebellion. Looks like it's going to take over Chang'an here. Alive, I hope. Indeed. That would be, might not be right. That'd be a terrible thing. But we get this started up. In which case, sorry to say, gives you a reasonable claim. Indeed, and that is terrible. It's not what we would have wanted. It's not what we would have wanted. It's very sad, if that is how it happens. And then we'll wait till next turn, be able to crack that one down. Yes. Authorita. One more Authorita. Two more Authorita. I'm like, I don't know if that 20 authority is worth 250 a turn, right? The real Imperial Uncle in any case, indeed. I mean, we're related to the Emperor Ming, of course, the second Emperor of the Eastern Han. Oh, the generals who support the state? Yeah. We gotta win 10 decisive or heroic battles for that one. 15 settlements with honorable, gracious, or humble there. 10 against the Yellow Turbans, and there, and then... Boom, 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 boom. But as much as I would love to give these guys some titles, the longer we wait, the better, right? Because right now, being able to build a building every turn is so good. It's 194 and all's well, you know. Luoyang is ours for as long as that's true. And this goes, we get 4 prestige for that. And we go here. No, we don't get 10 prestige till the one up there. Which we might just go up to. No, we don't have entrepreneurs. Anyway. Yeah, we'll probably get stymied there, but... Alright, do we recruit more in this army because we're going out to war? I don't think so. I think we're going to try to make this work, right? We're going to try to make this crummy little army work. Shangyong, right? I just didn't want to go without supplies right now. I wanted to wait for winter.
将为天下苍生效力。
Liu Chong gets to level 4. And Yuan Shu establishes a capital there at Ruin, because, like, man, I would love to move on him. I mean, we haven't moved against Hu Mao yet. And he wouldn't be able to get us, right? Because we have, like, enough reserves now that he wouldn't. Yeah, it'll hold up for 7 turns. Because if we had this army here. So you don't especially believe in the army, you believe in the weapons? Yeah. You gotta believe in the crossbow, right? Because the crossbow can delete, like, a whole retinue of their most valuable red cav, or, like, a good vanguard or whatever. And then, you know, these aren't just regular red gold weapons. We've got the Blade of Xiang Yu. We've got the blade guard of I just fired you, buddy. And we got this trident, which I never use. Alright, so here... I think... Alright, so going across the top, we get to show of Force 1 faster, right? Getting this... Is that faction support? Is that important enough for us to worry about? Because we can just get a Persuade the Gentry on somebody else and use the assignment there. Nobility is very desirable regardless, right? We would want to go there. I mean, stability doesn't matter for him, but... Yeah. It's really just, do we want show of force more than that for 1 turn? Because either way, we'd be dipping down to nobility before we continued on. That assignment is just too desirable to pass up. Yeah. Assuming I'd use it. I would definitely use it at least a bit, right? In the early phase when we were doing like the skirmishing thing. Because the lower the amount of units I have in the skirmishing phase, the better I'll do, you know. Anyway, we'll just take... We'll take meditation. We'll go across the top. We'll get that at level 5. And go for damage. And then delay the other one by a bit. Go ahead and grab our public order 1. And now we can drop this building already. Alright, apparently they just want me to get a random ancillary. Which one? Right or left? We'll take... Okay, so this is a matched set one, and this is an additional one. So, I mean, why wouldn't we take the set? It's the local administrator, which gives us... Yeah. Even better administrative stuff. Build the town. And yeah, I mean, I guess we just...
我的传承必将归于荣耀。
Yep. And they're all popping off. And now we are brothers in arms with our buddy. Yeah, he said, you know, I'm not having it. I'm gonna go live up out in the mountains. Yeah, he did miss his whole hero moment. But hey, you know, wherever the Emperor is.
为了传承，荣耀等着我们，进攻！为了传承，振作起来！
Do we march?
正在行军。
I'm like, I don't think he's here, right? That is right, I don't think he's here. I think he might really be dead. Bandits don't just let him go, even though young folks should. Yeah. Yep, well, you know, maybe that is... Maybe that is the dark present in which we're living, you know? Maybe this march wasn't a good choice. I just don't think he's here. And that's how pieces out with Cao Chen, which, you know, good. Because, like, man, does Cao Cao ever come across terribly in the romance in this thing, where he's like, oh, by the way, I'm also going to kill everybody. And you're like, oh, goodness gracious. And people are declaring war on Yongfeng. Makes sense. This dude is filial and pious. Yeah, you know, yeah. That's Goshu province is historically probably the worst thing I ever did. Yeah, you know, it's a real bad thing to do. So in March you lose a lot of your line of sight, I guess. Well, this worked amazingly.
大义将临，莫敢不从。
We occupy it also. It is level 3, and yes, we're going to get this character because 250 is always worth seeing if you get an item, right? Well, we don't get an item, but it's a peacekeeper. Maybe they'll get a thing. Hey, and we get another level up. they become Oathsworn. That's very excellent, of course. And we gain the Wicker Bales. Oh, that's a trophy. That gives range block chance for range units, so that's very good, right? One-handed paid for his army. But it made him, yeah, you know. Lots of times they're like, "How is this gonna make me look like a bad guy?" I'm like, "Ooh, yeah, maybe." But of course, on this front, although this is sort of like getting out here a bit, it's not bad, because this is an awkward place to be. Oh, this prestige, that's amazing, right? To pick that up. Yeah, this place really helped us out a lot there. Okay, so we'll take one more admin because we need 3, and it gives us a little bit of food, and then we'll take another assignment, and then another army. Yeah. And our legend spreads, so we get a huge public order boost again. And we are a second marquis. And now we can be in a coalition. Maybe that's why. Did they not want us in the coalition because they're like being real like Yuan Shu about it? And they're like, he's just a prince. Say like Nanyang and Chang'an as a base. Me too. And it doesn't feel like samey to the Liu Biao campaign, right? Like it feels like we're doing a whole very different thing. For all that we immediately fought Yuan Shu, but like, look, if he's your neighbor, maybe you're gonna. Alright, here, do we drop this building now? Because we can't D-rank, right? This being there was so excellent. That's so good for us, right? Because we actually have... Oh, it gives negative reserves, public appeasement does, but we can't do that. But we can... Yeah, supervised construction there. And we've got tax collect here. Yeah, because it's just industry, which the lumberyard is a pine lumberyard, which might be slightly different. But you know, it's like commerce, peasantry sort of thing. So yeah, because we don't need this really at all, and we get a good amount of money for it. We drop this as well. Expect to show up in the lumberyard. Yeah, we will. Oh, and we have other spots here. You know, perhaps we should make... You know, he is monstrous because he's, you know, the Yes, 2 more excellency positions. You know, we'll make you the Grand Commandant. Lower desire for independence. This guy is quite good at helping spy stuff, which we don't do at all. Yeah, we don't, you know, we can make, you know, it'll lower satisfaction of it, it'll be fine. Sushao makes us get negative food production, though. Can we really afford that?
为了传承，
Guess it's just -2. Yeah. You just pass it plus 6 or more public order offset taxes. Yep, we got we're right in that neighborhood. Especially in a couple of our places, because Taishitsu's got the ability for it. We need to just get an admin here, you know. You can be the admin here right now. We can move it around later if the accident will. And of course, he doesn't have a retinue, but that's okay.
时刻备战。
Go here, get the walls. Still +3 on food. Yes. Well, no, because we'll go down. We'll go to +1. I mean, that's something. Be cutting it a little close, but hey, what are you going to do, right? What are you going to do?
开创未来。
Boom, 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 boom. No matter what, it always makes me laugh. If it says I'm supposed to make it harder, it makes me laugh. If it says I'm supposed to make it easier, it makes me laugh. We'll keep it on hard. Hard's fine. And they become brothers in arms. They bro out. They're very happy. We sell these things to make a good penny. And here, I think we just go for the food initially, just to get food, right? Oh, this will give income as well. Yeah. Government support first.
领教我的力量。
Alright, so what we're gonna do here.
我的传承必将归于荣耀。安营扎寨，回归原状。准备宿
Just
营。
move here in camp and get ready to move on it, right? I want to drop this building. Only build a placement, yeah.
"此为苍生黎民之天下，非暴虐诸侯之天。
And now we're a marquis, which, you know, we're a prince, so we should have an even higher rank than all that, but... Peasantry run, yeah. And, you know, to see what having a nice population can get us. Because look at us, you know, hey, we already got 250,000 people that are here. And all's well, you know, things are looking up.
"这会符合足下的利益，如此只得作罢。
Yeah, I think our trade agreement isn't working with Liu Chong because of the looters went to Yuan Shu. Well, that doesn't, you know, I don't think the Emperor is gonna make it, guys. That's about the worst thing he could have done. The Feng here has the Hardened Iron Show, which is pretty good. He actually... Oh yeah, and he's got... Yeah, we gotta get this guy. He's even not a spy, which is good, and we're gonna be able to get replenished supplies as soon as he gets to level 2. But first... we will take this quite excellent gear away from him. Although that armor he might get back someday.
力求上进，功名震天。
And boom, peasantry boost. Love it. And then Taishitsi, we're gonna get that labor recruiter on him. Right, yeah. He can do it. And then you got the wall, you know, if you get the G, right, you get the G of the Imperial Guard, which is excellent. But yeah, You know, a good pickup. That guy gives
廉
us
洁奉公，
the peasantry boost, which is gonna be, you know, at least some money.
荣
It
耀
might be a
指我
bunch.
们。
It might be like 400.
时刻备战，保持原样。
But alright, so this is perfect so far, because even if he's like right there,
唯有胜
we'll
利
just
方
take this
能开
in
创未
what
来
is certain to be a super messy way, because I've been to a lumber yard before. Fortunately, there's not a whole lot here.
我的传承必将归于荣耀。
You know, the crossbows have 38 armor, which is kind of a lot for crossbows. Don't love having non-continuous force. Me either. Get Chang'an through Chong, vision a few. You know, it does seem like that'll be the cleanest route in, and I mean, these bandits are in
我可没
the
心情。
capital. It's unseemly. It's outrageous. We shouldn't have to suffer it. But things are working out, right? They certainly are. And as soon as we get a little bit more money, we'll take this. Because I absolutely believe in, you know, having a garrison. Comes looking better. Yes, yes. I think it'll look even better as soon as this next turn rolls. Because we have... Yeah, it's going to be a lot more peasantry income here. But we shall see what we can get. But no, we have to do this battle here, which means I have to go to bed because it's already 1 a.m. and I've been talking much too much. But, you know, we've got a spouse and, you know, we've got our gold weapons and, frankly, I couldn't be more pleased. This run's going exactly like I hoped it would. Not exactly. I didn't account for faction support, reserves, population. What I really need is this on just one. Indeed. And then, you know, the future can be secure. He's just old enough to die during run, yeah, you know. Already 54. An old man. And that would be a huge bummer. But if he had a son that was old enough to immediately take up the crossbow and sword of his father, you know? Hopefully not like a strategist. You know, it'd be fine for the second son to be a scholar, but...
为了传承，
Mayhaps a brave sentinel. Someone to bear the blade. That's right, notion, yeah.
时刻备战，
He would be trusted, you know. He's the guardian of the people, after all. Well. Good stuff. The Tyrant is slain, right? And that is as good can be. They're just farming Yellow Turban rebellions over here. The Yujun sounds good enough, yeah. And he has a son himself. Yeah, you know, him being adopted wouldn't be a terrible plan. He is charismatic after all. Supports war. Good.
唯有胜利方能 能开创未来。
I was supposed to be going to bed.
今日
Anyway,
此胜，乃
yeah,
成天
very,
之
very
恩
low
泽。
casualties indeed. Whenever I see G militia and archers and it says low, I'm like, I bet it's just gonna hand it to me, and it does.
百姓定会丹食湖江，夹道欢迎。
And we get to the Book of Rights, which gives us public order faction wide, which is gonna be pretty nice, right? Oh, she's wearing that though. Well, you know, we can alternate the Book of Crossbows in this book with like taxes or whatever, perhaps. Yes. Oh, it's still waiting to kick, but yes. So we've got this commandery sorted out. Balance is here. And he is not in the neighborhood, right? Like, and the thing about these lands is we know from experience that if he's trying to walk, like, over here, he's just gonna run out of supplies. He's just gonna run out of supplies. It won't work. Of course, the toolmaker is, like...
释放怒火吧！ 回家的感觉真不错。
incredibly clumsy to get at, and we would need permission to walk on this land, which he would freely give us. I mean, he would just hand it over if we didn't want to fight him. Hand over the ability to walk on the land. It'd really just be a matter of, do we want to take it from him? Yes. He's a vassal of Liu Chong, that's right.
如此能带来些许好处。别来无恙。
Why doesn't anybody want me in the coalition? Liu Chong is fairly host, but he's out to Liu. Yeah, who is our neighbor? We wouldn't want to be doing that. So we could get a non-aggression pact with any of these guys. We could also end the fight with Hu Mao. Military access, move for Chang'an.
很荣幸再相见。
Because we can get military access with all these other people too, right? You don't think we can do it? Yeah, you know. They are just bandits, but our army isn't very good.
我的传承必将归于荣耀。
You gotta remember they're 10 more morale on the axe band, though.
只得如此。
Because we could peace out with Hu Mao. It's a Spear Wars, you don't like that. Well, you know. You got... It's 36 armor piercing damage. Sure, they're not good under towers. You gotta think about the damage. Because really, that army was recruited because I thought we were going to be fighting Cao Cao already. and I wanted something to fight the large amount of high-quality cavalry. And it ended up being very good against Dong Zhuo, of course. Yeah, it's level 4, it's bandits, Lu Ji isn't there. They've got no reserves, so, you know, the garrison's probably popped. If we peace out with Hu Mao and get the military access, because the thing with Hu Mao too is, if he declares on us again, he's still quite far away from where we are. You know, we know that this is 3.5 or 4 turns to get to here. And as many from this direction.
你又怎样？甚善。
So we get the peace, which is actually a wonderful peace indeed, right? And then we will negotiate
请进，朋友。
freedom of movement. And then we'll get it from... Yeah, we're gonna need movement with him as well. You know, everything's on the up and up. We're getting stuff. Do we recruit any more units here? We will have, like, one more turn of replenishment if we get another unit. I was like, I figured that's what you meant, yeah. Because we could just get Saber Militia, which would be, you know, something. And just get like one yellow cav to be sticky and have high morale and be able to tie up things, yeah.
着我们。
So you're waiting for days you can field a real army with your units. It'll be a fun time. Cao Cao is looking at our doorway. Never a good sign. So we can get additional one there. Aggro focus. Better unit stuff is a lot of money. Feels worth it. Send him home and do assignments. Lots of levels up soon. Yeah. Well, he is 750 experience from a level up, and with that. It's experience for units. I don't know if it applies to us too. But I feel like that's a really good one for this faction, because some of these, right, we go, oh, and we'll be able to, one more siege battle, which is just, you know, taking a place, and then we'll get 20k pop growth, which we'll start getting things into line. It's like, we didn't get the mustering building. Do we get more population and just lean into it? I mean, we're going to get quite a lot of population indeed. Tech and the trophy, right? Yeah, let's just get this. Let's just lean into it, right? Because now we're looking at a very respectable population growth, you know. Big migration coming to our cities. And then here we're going to just... Yes, the people love me. Do we... Yeah, so like they're garrisoning here. There's just a low. I think we just go ahead and move now. Yeah. We don't want to delay.
出发！我已归来，百姓是否安好？
Petty and jealous. Yeah, but how do we feel about him?
力求上进，功名震天。
Hey Lubu, what's up, buddy? Hello, friend. Hello, pal. Who's my buddy? Hello, Lubu. And it looks like Zhang has now gotten the puppet emperor from Yangfeng. We're gonna see how this, you know, whenever I see the emperor for myself, that's when I'll believe it. There's a lot of rumors floating around about the guy. We're not sure where our beloved nephew is. He's not an admin, but going across the bottom here is good anyway, because it's faster. Peasantry really working here now, right? Yeah, doing super good now that we're getting some money there. We have 2 buildings we can build here, so we're just going to build both of those. He's the Tyrant wing units right next door. It's true. It all worked out perfectly. Your plan worked to perfection, Wang Yun. He provoked him into fighting against Yuan Shu, but it was me that was there, the hero, Liu Chong.
说吧，我们洽谈一番。
Want to form a coalition, big guy? No, why not? Come on.
坐下谈谈吧。
These mutual coalitions need to be his idea, right? And you gotta be like, you should run it, and he'll be like, no, I wouldn't be good at it. And you're like, come on, man, you should run it. And he'll be like, no, come on, I don't know how. They're like, you should run it. He's like, okay, fine. The agri economy, that also is a kick on there. Well, you know, it'll go down, but doing okay. I want that sword.
忍受苦难。
That's what your warrior actually says. That's funny. She's you know, our new wife is a noble individual, and asks them to bring their own treats to the house, and that makes everybody very respectful. My man gets to level 2. Going underneath gets us to the armor for the spears. Seems fine. Go here, replan on our foreign land, and... Alright, yeah, so this is just a crummy little garrison. Han Jian's here. He's level 1. They've got a bunch of polearms that are as good at fighting in melee as my spear dudes are. Let's be honest about it. But we'll bring more to the fight than they'll have. We just need to hope that nobody besieges them before we get there, right? If we capture Hanshan, he's a critical war guide. It would depend on whether or not we believed him, right? Because they were at the capital for a very brief period of time, right? The answer was, yeah, the answer makes sense. So Yongfeng didn't have a hold of the emperor for like any time at all before Yuan Shu had his spies wire him away, right? And snake him out right from under our very noses, right? You know? And he traveled through the passes, and, you know, that nobody knew that it happened, and then he had to run away again. You know, that is what happened. The emperor wasn't, like, in their custody for a very long time. To have a specific grudge against Han Jian will be like, so if we blame them, okay. But if he's just in this faction that happened to be here, until very recently, Dong Zhuo was alive, right? He was the Yellow Turban also. That's very true. Rose and Dread was all yes, but strong. No, there's... To forgive them would only be because I wanted them on my side, right? But because of, like, timeline-wise, it hasn't been so long since the death of the Tyrant. You would have been forgiven for trying to go and rescue the Emperor on your own, right? Everybody in this part of China was going over there. I just hope Liu Chong doesn't help us out here. Oh, curses. This is a disaster. Well, maybe not. This is definitely pretty bad, though. Alright, so they beat up that army entirely. Coalition's like an ally, right? And we'll just send him some money. I mean, we are... But that doesn't necessarily mean that our coalition will fight all of them, right? Because we could just, like, not get involved. Because he's at war with everybody. Getting paid or the worst. Oh, okay, yeah, that's not so bad.
准了。
It's autumn right now anyway, so we very much have to get to war here right now.
山虽万仞，难避怒雷。
Well, they only have 2 Bastion artillery, right? And honestly, it probably gives us the auto after this, which we would have to do it anyway because we don't have the military supplies to wait any longer. They're gonna sell you, yeah, absolutely. Well, a good place to end here. You know, maybe Lubu will come and help. That would be pretty sweet. After all, we did all the hard work of killing the Tyrant. Yes, a big battle for next time, which we will probably play in the morning. You know, I'm not 100% sure, but you know, I got my long morning before work, so around 9 or 10 or whatever, perhaps we'll get on there, and maybe I will see you there. You know, this went. Now we're friends. That's good news. I mean, to be fair. Wait, aren't you the guy with the towers? I love that. I love that guy. However, we didn't. Wang Yu is still alive? Yes. I mean, in this, maybe Li Zhuo was our inside man, right? Li Zhuo, because he could have manipulated Dong Zhuo. Like, he would have been the one whispering in his ear to come into Nanyang anyway, right? You know. And when the time came for him to run away with the Emperor if he wanted, he didn't do that. And sure, everybody's still fighting him, but honestly, it's just because they want to rob him of his valuable gate passes. So war was kicked like immediately, so we get to blame Guo Si for like everything. Yeah, yeah. Oh, successful girl. Alright. What are your... Alright, so she still gets tantrum. Good, because I would get so mad if they took tantrum away from her, right? Hedonistic rant. Yeah. And this is his old son-in-law, yeah. Li Su, this guy. New foods with his wife. Yeah, you never see it. But you know, we'll have this fight. I'm confident in our ability to win anyway, right? Shu Huang is super scary and a big killer. He also, you know, is just level 4. Doesn't Oh, it's temper deflection in the center for him. I'm like, what? Yeah, you know, he's got his roar, which is awesome. But, you know, we just won't let him get away with it. We'll run up and shoot him. Oh, you know, he probably actually... Yeah, you know, he's got sentinel sort of defense. We'll run up and shoot him. We'll run up and shoot somebody, you know. We got our crossbows. And, you know, we'll be able to provoke them just with Prince Liu Chong's crossbow, I think, into coming back. And that's, of course, if it's a full fight. They've got beat-up cav and peasant archers won't be doing too much. And this army suffered an absolute sound of attrition, right? So... he doesn't have 25 ward save, right? But yeah, they're very beat up too. This general has, you know, a couple thousand hit points. All these generals just have a few thousand hit points. Whereas we are fresh as a daisy. Liu Chong might be able to pop like 4 of the generals, right? And we'll just target him first so we don't get hit with that 50 morale, which can be a nightmare. Anyway, I'm confident. Friends in Osworn, yeah, that will be a problem. Kill Shu Hong, yeah. You will have 50% missile block, but we can just shoot at him. He's the one that's scarier if he runs around, right? Juiced, huge AP, has terror, big swing speed, Roar the Beast. Yeah, he's the one we want to shoot. And this dude, at least, you know, for all that we don't want to take 50 morale... You know, he'll only get to do it once in the battle. But, yep. Alright. Wonderful stuff. We're making a bunch of money now, aren't we just... You know, the peasantry income will drop before long, but we can certainly enjoy it for right now. We're going to make a conscription building because we need that, and then it'll finish up in time for the next year, just as planned. Yeah, 100 public order there. Wild. But I guess we had all the bonuses rolling in. Well, with that in mind, we can increase the taxes a little bit. It loses faction support when you do it, but that's still okay, right? We need passive faction support stuff. I think we have like 5 from... No, we didn't take that, did we? Yeah. Or like be using the abilities for it. The Persuade the Gentry and stuff, yeah. Or have like Liu Bei or some of the other people have like an innate bonus to it. It's 1:45 a.m. I simply must start shutting up. All right. Well, this has gone amazingly well. I'm super pleased. Luke, always a pleasure, and thank you, as always, for your wise counsel here. You know, this couldn't have gone nearly as well without you. Man, it's going so good, isn't it? Isn't it just? You know, we've got enough food, and we're gonna be taking the capital back, and once we win this, you know, we'll be in a spot.
真是倍感荣幸。
We'll have Chang'an. And then we'll see what we do afterward. Do we move into the mountains over here? Typical, you know. We'll see. Because right now we're actually making money, which is amazing. It'll be a lot less soon, though, right? Yeah, because we're gonna lose 200% income from peasantry, so we're gonna be dropping like several hundred. It's okay, but still, it was nice while it lasted. Yeah, 1.3k from peasantry out of just like, you know, yeah, it's not bad. Let's hear how we get the rest of Jingzhou and Jingzhou and Hongnong. That would be the dream, right? That would be good. You know, maybe
有什么可以互相帮助的？
maybe Zhongyang will come across here and take it and give us an excuse to grab it. Maybe. But anyway, that's all we've got right now. Luo Tong, the Humble Dawn, is being a very respectable baby. I wonder if these things work while they're the heir, right? Even though they're a baby. Maybe it does. Here's your perceptive and gracious baby heir. Nah. But anyway, we will get on these, and yeah. Oh, so you can double dip on the Nusha before there. Yeah. You don't think they do? Fair enough. We'll win one more siege battle, I assume. Get our worn sandals, and then, you know, the happiness is just going to start rolling in. Isn't it wonderful? You know, it doesn't, you know, we're still struggling a little bit, but we see that the people around us like us, so that's always good. Our public order is fine. And, well, it's about to be 197, but I don't think the Emperor is going to be telling too many people what to do, but we shall see. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you've enjoyed. His name is Liu Chong. He is the Prince of Nanyang and a hero. The Slayer of the Tyrant. And whatever happens after that, we always did our best. Anyway, good night, Luke.